Hi everyone, this is the voice of William with the Grand Duke Dmitri 1939 series, and I'm standing in front of the exit on the top funicular station. A funicular being a kind of cable car that goes up a steep slope, in this case the mountain slope coming up from Platz to Schatzalp. And when Dmitri first arrived at Schatzalp on the 2nd of September 1939, he would have come up by funicular. It would have taken him about 10 minutes. It now takes about 5 minutes. And he would have came out of these doors. And I finally realized that I do not have to use my selfie stick to do actual selfies. And since you've already seen me, and since I don't like walking backwards or having my face, half of my face in the frame, I'm going to do it differently today. So now what we have, since I've turned around, is this is the view that Dmitri himself would have seen when he came out those doors of the funicular station. And this is not the front of the hotel. So what he would have seen was the side of the hotel. And we will walk the same path with the covered walkway was here. So this is exactly how he would have walked, and very, very close to what he would have seen. We're coming under the covered walkway now and approaching the entrance to, not to the building itself, but to the front of the hotel. Here are some carnivorous plants. You can't see them. They're not blooming yet, but they are put out here every year in the spring and kept inside during the winter. Okay, so this is, and also would have been in Dmitri's day, the entrance to the business and administrative parts of the sanatorium, now the hotel. So he would have walked right up these stairs, and we have this sort of beveled glass here on the one wall that allows the natural sunlight to come in. The other wall is pretty much just blank, but with these decorative motifs in an alpine style. And what we have right in front of us is kind of a cross between a door and a gate. So you can see here, the door is almost never closed unless there's some kind of private party or something like that. And I assume when it was the sanatorium, it was also almost never closed because people were not shut in. They could leave when they wanted to. And what we have here is now the ski room. So where you put your skis and your ski boots, which you're not allowed to wear into the hotel. But it would have been the entrance, and then you would go upstairs to a balcony. If you didn't have your own balcony, you had one of the north-facing rooms, you would go and use this sort of common balcony area to do your rest cure every day. And this, I wish I knew the actual architectural terms. It's, I don't know, a portico or an arcade leading to the entrance of the hotel. It's about 3:30 in the afternoon now, so you have the shadows that you see. And in German, it is called the Wanderhalle. Well, part of it now has another name. It's called the Snow Beach because it's an area where people can sit out and enjoy the sunlight during the winter season, also during the summer, although there's no snow. And this was an area not where patients did their rest cure with the Liegestuhl, the lounge chairs. There were never lounge chairs out here. That was something that was done on a balcony. Instead, this was an area like the Grand Salon on the inside that was used for socializing. There were benches along the wall. I have a picture of Dmitri sitting on one of those benches with two of his friends, both ladies. And here's this little area that leads to a small part of the garden. And they were actually predicting snow today, so I'm glad that that didn't happen. So we are, this is, it looks like tiles, but of course sort of terracotta tiles never would have, would have lasted this long, because this is the original floor from the sanatorium. It hasn't been changed. So yes, indeed, Dmitri and other interesting people would have trod on these. Here we have the, whoops, I'm still a little bit disoriented. You can see the reflection of of myself and of the mountainscape, but this is one of the big picture windows that you look at when you're sitting in the dining room. Here is the wonderful view that the people sitting out on the Wandelhalle would have enjoyed. Also the people on their balconies. And the landscaping just really hasn't changed. You had the same array of gravel paths and then little circular garden areas, or oblong, I should say. And here, this has not been restored yet. You have two of these, one on the east side of the hotel and one on the west side of the hotel. So we're looking east at the moment. We'll see the west side one, and we're coming up on the entry. So Dmitri would not have seen or entered this glassed-in foyer. That came later. That came after the place had been transformed from a sanatorium into a hotel. So you had, without the foyer, you had a wooden entryway here. And we can go down the stairs from the raised Wandelhalle to the grounds. There are benches out here now. There were benches out here when Dmitri was here. And again, I have a photograph of him sitting out here on one of the benches, enjoying himself. Here are the front steps. And these front steps were here, although the foyer wasn't the same, of course. And yeah, we have this nice pond here that at the moment has tadpoles in it. And we can walk along to what is called the Big Five Garden, also known as the Historic Alpinum, because it's an alpine garden that was built between 1906 and 1907. So Dmitri could have enjoyed it, and he liked flowers, he liked gardens, but he never mentions it, unfortunately, in his diaries. So I don't know if he ever actually went down the path. He must have done, but it is a rather steep path. Unfortunately, now you can see the west wing, the west side solarium, and here's the entrance to the Big Five Garden. It's May, so not everything's in bloom now, but my favorites, which are the irises, are not in bloom yet, but lots of things are in bloom. And you see the camera kind of flattens things out, but there's then a pretty steep path going down. Part of it is blocked off at the moment because they just replaced the old stone steps and put in some safer stone steps. Here's the meadow, and this flat area that you're looking at used to be flooded in the wintertime and used as an ice skating rink for the patients who were able to do that. By the time of Dmitri's stay here, that was no longer done. That was quite a long time ago. So what else should we look at before we go? Here is the front of the hotel, Dmitri's room. You see, this entrance goes into the Grand Salon, the one that's nearest. The other one that's farther away leads into the reception area. It's the main entrance to the hotel, and there are 3 floors above it, and Dmitri's balcony would have been the one at the very top. And I know that because he sent Maria a photograph showing a very similar view to this, with an arrow pointing to his balcony and his room. Yeah, I think that's about all for now. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.